The 2015 Volkswagen Golf R Touch. Like all hot hatchbacks, the Golf R is not an old person's car. While the 2016 model slated for arrival in the US will be equipped with 4 doors, it's still the fastest and most powerful Golf ever sold to the American public. It's a turbocharged, all-wheel drive speed bubble. It's a bullet with sport suspension, 18-inch wheels, and tight, bolstered seats. The tires are thin, the brakes are grabby, and the exhaust burbles and pops. It's a pumped-up, track-oriented performance special. Obviously, this is a complicated machine aimed at a younger crowd. Grip and power are good, and the Golf R practically oozes with both these attributes. But the car for tomorrow, the kind of vehicle that anyone under 30 might want, needs more than a collection of high-performance statistics. To effectively reach the new consumer, a car needs connectivity, innovative infotainment, and the latest interior technology. For a growing number of customers, it's the cabin gadgetry that either makes or breaks a car sale. With this in mind, Volkswagen is using the 2015 Consumer Electronics Show as a springboard to unveil the Golf R Touch, which integrates a huge variety of forward-thinking user interface technology to enhance the experience for both passengers and the driver. While the rest of the vehicle is unchanged from a production Golf R, it's fascinating to see the direction VW wants to take in a bid to stay at the forefront of cabin tech. Say goodbye to buttons and switches in their stead, you'll find screens, haptic feedback, and gesture control. It looks complex, but if you're the kind of person who can smell free public Wi-Fi from a mile away, you should feel right at home. Click past the jump to read more about the Volkswagen Golf R Touch. Exterior. Beyond perhaps a lack of boldness, it's hard to fault the Golf for the way it looks. Beyond a unique red and gray color scheme and stylish, new wheels, the rest of the exterior on the R Touch is essentially unchanged. Based on the 7th-generation Golf, which began production last year, the new R comes with larger front air inlets and quad exhaust tips in the back. Placed alongside its commuter siblings, the R looks lower and meaner thanks to a suspension drop and larger diameter aluminum wheels. Like Golfs of old, the design is simple and chiseled, with the trailing edges creased slightly to give it a sporty feel, most notably in the rear with a lip across the hatch roofline and in the lower diffuser. Beyond perhaps a lack of boldness, it's hard to fault the Golf for the way it looks. It's clean and well-proportioned, attributes that helped propel the new Golf to a spot on Top Speed's new car top picks list for 2014. Interior. The ambient lighting is also adjustable throughout the cabin, tailoring the hue to match your tastes. This is where things get really interesting. The cabin in the Touch received a major upgrade over the singular navigation screen found in the stock Golf R. The Touch is VW's preview for future interior technologies, with a focus on the elimination of traditional mechanical buttons and switches. That means there are 3 total screens for the user interface, including a 12.8-inch main screen mounted in the center console, an 8-inch control screen mounted right below it, and a 12.3-inch active info display taking the place of a traditional instrument cluster behind the steering wheel. The 2 larger screens are fully customizable, with a variety of information and images available to mix and match depending on preference and need. These screens are also touch-enabled, with proximity sensors embedded nearby to aid use. The 12.8-inch main screen has what's known as a multi-touch slider that lets users control parameters like music volume, fader, and balance through a combination of different numbers of fingers. The ambient lighting is also adjustable throughout the cabin, tailoring the hue to match your tastes. The 8-inch control screen incorporates haptic feedback, giving a sense of clickiness that will help keep the driver's attention on the road while he or she makes a selection. All these different control features can also be made via gesture command, whereby a roof-mounted camera is used to recognize hand movements, turning a variety of waving into discrete actions. Drivetrain. Sitting under the aluminum alloys are high-performance brakes, with rotors measuring in at 13.4 inches and 12.2 inches in the front and back respectively. We can only assume the drivetrain for Golf R Touch remains unchanged, but that's okay. Even in stock form, the Golf R is very capable. Under the hood is a 2.0-liter turbocharged inline-4 with 290 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque pumping through 4 motion permanent all-wheel drive. There are 2 transmissions to choose from, including a 6-speed manual or 6-speed auto DSG, with the slush box rendering a slightly improved 0 to 60 time of 4.9 seconds. Sitting behind the aluminum alloys are high-performance brakes, with rotors measuring in at 13.4 inches and 12.2 inches in the front and rear, respectively. A new suspension yields max grip, with struts up front and a multi-link in the back, while pilots can choose between several different driving modes, including comfort, normal, sport, and race. Prices. A fully loaded Golf R is just a sneeze below $40,000, and I'd wager that the new screens, gesture control, and other goodies found on the Touch would add up to one helluva option box. Should VW pull the trigger on offering such a package, I wouldn't be surprised if it added another $7,000 to the MSRP, making for one very pricey Golf. Of course, that's just speculation. Over time, if this tech gains in popularity, the price should eventually fall. Conclusion. In a press release, VW states this technology adds comfort and convenience to human-vehicle interaction by reducing driving distractions while operating controls, and further underscores the synchronized relationship between the car and the computer. We aren't totally convinced this kind of tech yields reduced distractions, but we still think it's pretty darn cool. As the equipment we encounter in the cabin of our automobiles becomes increasingly complex, the interface to control it must keep pace. Unfortunately, that means things like mechanical buttons are on the way out. Gesture control and touchscreens are not just a neat idea, I think they are a must moving forward. Cars like the Golf R Touch attempt to forge the way forward, and while it might look great in a 5-minute staged demonstration, the real test is when a live consumer gets behind the wheel. In the meantime, I'll be content to chuckle as this tech rolls out. Just like how the first Bluetooth earpiece users looked crazy talking to themselves, new gesture control users will look rather weird waving at their dash. Love it. Very cool concept, forward-thinking, incredibly complex idea made relatively simple. Leave it. Questionable safety and usability for new controls will probably be quite expensive at release. Makes you look like an imbecile waving at no one.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.